Greetings friends, Survival Doc here. Today I want to talk to you about my favorite fruit, blackberries. Now I grow all kinds of fruit. I grow apples, peaches, pears, apricots, cherries, grapes. But my favorite is blackberry. For one reason, blackberry is disease-free. I have all kinds of problems with some of my other fruit trees. Insect problems, Japanese beetles, fungus problems. You have to spray your fruit trees. I've never had to do anything with my blackberry vines. I've never had to treat them with any kind of spray. I grow them totally organically using rabbit manure for fertilizer, but blackberries don't even need fertilizer. They grow in very poor soil. They do like to have a lot of sunlight. But the best thing about blackberries is not only are they disease-free, require very little work, but blackberries are perhaps the most healthy fruit that you can grow. A lot of people don't realize it, but blackberries are the highest type of berry in antioxidants. It has the highest cancer fighting capacity, or the ORAC capacity, ORAC, oxygen radical absorption capacity. Out of all the berries, blackberry has the strongest, the highest ORAC value. It has been used in herbal medicine for years by all types of cultures. It's an astringent. It has mainly been used against diarrhea and dysentery. Now, dysentery is a form of diarrhea that people get generally from drinking contaminated water. During the Civil War, of course, during war, it's the ideal conditions for dysentery or diarrhea because you have large armies moving through the woods. They use the bathroom in the water, in the streams, and that's also where they get their drinking water. And of course, dysentery and diarrhea has always been a problem for armies, and it could become a problem during survival times if we have to resort to using the bathroom outdoors and getting our water from natural supplies. As a matter of fact, during the Civil War, it has been reported that both armies, North and South, at times called a temporary truce because their soldiers were suffering from dysentery, and they called a truce just so their soldiers could pick blackberries and eat blackberries, so that they could get rid of their diarrhea so that they could go on with the war. Now, one thing about using a blackberry as a medicine like this, generally it's the leaves that are used as a medicine. You take the leaves and you make a tea out of the leaves. However, the berries also have the same effect, so you can just eat the berries or drink the juice for the herbal effect. But other than as an herbal medicine, just as a food, blackberries are a perfect food. As I mentioned, they're very, very high in antioxidants. They have the highest cancer-fighting ability of all the berries. And you hear these hyped up ads from all these exotic berries like acai berries that come from South America, and how great they are at fighting cancer, and the antioxidant benefit of blueberries and all these other berries, exotic berries. And none of these berries rank higher than blackberries in their antioxidant or their nutritional or their cancer fighting capacity. You just can't get a better berry than blackberries. Like I said, they're easy to grow. They like a lot of sun. And another thing I like about blackberries is you don't have to plant them every year. You just plant the plants once. They keep coming back every single year. They do require some maintenance. You do have to prune them. They require heavy pruning every year. And blackberries are actually produced on second-year canes. So when you prune them, you prune the canes that this year's berries grew on, and you leave the new growth this year because the berries were produced on second-year canes. For example, when I prune, and you do your pruning during the dormant season, you always do your pruning for any of your plants during the dormant season, which here in the northern hemisphere, of course, that's winter time. What I'll do is, when I prune, I'll just cut these vines here that are fruiting this year, just cut them out completely. If you notice, this cane here has no berries on it at all. That's because this is this year's growth. All right, you don't want to prune this because this will produce your berries for next year. So when you prune, you cut back the vines that produce berries this year. You leave the new growth because berries are produced on 2-year canes. So next summer this will be a 2-year cane. So we will keep this when I prune. And this, what will happen is a lot of lateral branches will come off of this cane here, and on those lateral branches are where you will get your fruit. Another thing about blackberry leaves, rabbits love blackberry leaves. They're also a good medicine for herbal medicine for your rabbits. And again, the best thing, it's the best thing in the world to give your rabbits if your rabbits develop diarrhea or any kind of intestinal problem. Rabbits absolutely love blackberry leaves. It's one of their favorite foods. So when you have to cut out your excess brush, you can take these leaves and feed them to your rabbits if you have rabbits, and they'll love you for it. Another thing I like about blackberries is blackberries are expensive, so they're a good cash crop. All right, right now peaches are in season here in Missouri. All right, I've got a peach tree. However, I can go to the grocery store and buy peaches, large peaches, for 20 cents a piece. So when my peaches are in season, what can you sell them for? 10 cents a piece? Blackberries always maintain their price. Right now, blackberries are in season. I just went to the farmer's market the other day to check on the price for blackberries, and at the farmer's market, generally they have good prices there. Right now, they're charging $7 a quart for blackberries. So I decided to sell my blackberries for $5 a quart because I'm gonna cut out the middleman, save my customers some money. There's 1 quart of blackberries, a bargain at $5. What do I do with my extra blackberries? Well, I sell them to my neighbors. I use them for barter, and what I have left over, I usually just freeze them. Just put the berries in these freezer bags, put them in my freezer. During the summer when it's hot and harvest season, I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of canning. Don't like to do canning when the weather's too hot because it heats up the house. I don't mind doing canning in the wintertime because that helps to keep your house warm. So I'll freeze them, and then this winter when it gets cold and I have some time on my hand, I'll do some canning, and I'll extract the juice and just can the blackberry juice. Just drink this. You can sweeten it with a little sugar if you want to. You can also use this, of course, to make blackberry jam. This is Survival Doc, reminding you, be prepared, or be prepared to be fleeced.
Something good.